What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with the distance. Another video tonight. This one is a fantasy matchup. One before I go to bed. Actually, this one was requested a while ago. Haven't really had a chance to talk about this one. This one is Joe Calzaghe versus Arthur Abraham at a weight limit of 168. But anyway, this is actually a matchup that could still possibly happen. You'll never know because Joe Calzaghe, there's rumors of him possibly coming back to the sport of boxing. So really, you'll never know with Joe Calzaghe and Arthur Abraham. Like I said, it's a fight that could possibly still happen. It depends on if Joe Calzaghe comes back to boxing and Arthur Abraham, continues fighting at 168 after this tournament. So anyway, on to the matchup. Joe Calzaghe, as we all know, ruled 168 pounds for about 10 years. About 20 title defenses. And really, my first time watching Joe Calzaghe fight on television was against Jeff Lacy back in 2006, when he basically outclassed Jeff Lacy for a total of like 12 rounds, beat him the whole entire fight, if you ask me. Just easily beat him. And a lot of people were expecting Jeff Lacy to come out and win, and some people were actually expecting it to be a close fight. And I remember being younger and watching ESPN and all these people hyping up Jeff Lacy to be this next big thing. And I actually knew a kid that actually fucking argued with me about how Jeff Lacy was a great fighter, how Jeff Lacy was the future of 168 pounds. It was very laughable that I straight up argued with this kid of why Jeff Lacy would never be that big in the 168 pound division. I actually thought Kessler was better than him at that time. But anyway, and as well, Arthur Abraham won the middleweight championship I believe in 05. I think in 2005 or 2006, one of those years. Won the IBF middleweight championship when Jermaine Taylor had dropped the championship, vacated it, turned around, won the championship, defended that championship successfully over 3-4 years, and vacated to be a part of the Super 6 middleweight tournament. So overall, how do I see this fight going? Really, I see it to be I really see this fight to be a very center of the ring type fight, something that's just done in the center of the ring. Calzaghe had very good hand speed, as we all know. Really good hand speed, really good ring generalship, and knew how to press you using that hand speed. He could come forward, he could move back using the hand speed, he could move and pretty much let his hands go from all certain angles. From all angles he could let the hands go. And Calzaghe, due to the fact that Arthur Abraham stands in that shell and has that peekaboo type style, I think Calzaghe would take advantage of that using his hand speed. I think he would I think it'd be center of the ring. Calzaghe, kind of getting his shots off, using the fast hands to his advantage, moving around the ring, circling, and beating Arthur Abraham to the punch. Because as long as Arthur Abraham has his hands up, like this, and he's standing in a shell, Joe Calzaghe would more than likely try his best to exploit that and use that to his advantage, and use the hand speed to pretty much I think use his hand speed to kind of keep Arthur Abraham away from him. Arthur Abraham does a very good job of countering when you're not punching. But Joe Calzaghe pretty much had the ability to punch all night and punch for a total of 12 rounds, if you ask me. Joe Calzaghe as well, he didn't necessarily. I think that Joe Calzaghe, being the southpaw that he was, I think he did, just like many southpaws, he did have trouble defending himself from the straight right hand. Arthur Abraham doesn't really throw that straight right hand, but he throws a very good right cross. And if he lands that right cross flush on Joe Calzaghe's chin, then he can hurt Calzaghe. But really, would Joe Calzaghe give Arthur Abraham the chance to land that right cross or any shot? because as long as you're standing in a shell, Joe Calzaghe would probably throw a lot of punches, throw a very big accumulation of punches, while Arthur Abraham's in that shell. And when you think of this fight, really, a lot of people talk about, Andre Dirrell, how Andre Dirrell beautifully boxed against him. I think that Joe Calzaghe, as well, would probably use that same strategy, throwing shots at the shell, moving, a lot of movement, a lot of getting his shots off first before Arthur Abraham is able to get his shots off, and pretty much just controlling the fight using the hand speed, pressuring Arthur Abraham using the hand speed, and as well, being the ring general in this fight. I think Arthur Abraham would have a lot of trouble cutting off the corners, cutting off all the dimensions of the ring against Joe Calzaghe because his hands were so fast. And some can debate whether or not he had power within those hands. But we all know Joe Calzaghe had hand problems, and he did kind of slap a little bit, but there was some force behind those shots. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, how I see this fight going, I just see this being pretty much I do see this being a victory for Joe Calzaghe, unanimous decision. I see it being a unanimous decision because I just think that with Arthur Abraham's style, I just think that it gives Joe Calzaghe a chance to let the hands go, and it just gives Joe Calzaghe a chance to be the ring general because the hand speed being pretty much the main factor of this fight. Joe Calzaghe could just let the hands go. His hands were so fast that he can just get them off before Arthur Abraham gets his shots off, and judges would take a look at that. Judges would take a look at that. It's like, okay, well, Calzaghe's getting his shots off before Abraham. He's being the ring general. He's making, and as well, since he's getting his shots off first, then Calzaghe, he's making Arthur Abraham get his shots off. So, I'm going to go with Joe Calzaghe by unanimous decision against Arthur Abraham. But, anyway, that was distance. Thanks for watching. Check out my post-fight video, Adam Areola. But anyway, take it easy. Peace.